It was such a privilege to see Luxembourg on the Eurovision stage for the very first time in over 30 years, and I'm so happy to welcome them back to the Eurovision family. I mean, come on. It's monumental. It's just such a big deal. So, almost getting a little bit emotional here, but let's talk this through before I start crying. So, Luxembourg, first time in Eurovision, first time on the Eurovision stage since 1993, I think. TALI, Fighter, rehearsing for the first time. Let me walk you through it real quick. I'm Matt. This is ESC United, your favorite Eurovision channel. And let's talk about the staging first. And we have, we have all those cubes that are usually hanging up there, on the stage, available to everyone. But Luxembourg said, we need more. We need more cubes on stage. And so they brought along like a big frame looking thing, like a big square frame. And within that frame, they had a bunch of little more squares that you can sit on and light up and all that stuff. And then so her TALI and her 5 dancers are sitting in there, and they are just getting up at some point, probably during the first chorus or something like that, and then start dancing. She just walks up there and then mostly stands. I mean, she does some movements and all of that stuff. And then apparently they like to rotate to perform to each side of the audience. So it's not just like facing forward, but to the sides as well. So that is another interesting aspect of it that is worthy pointing out. And of course, or not of course, but thankfully, we'll have some pyros and smokes, flames, fireworks, especially at the end, adding a little bit more layer to it. So let's talk this through. Do I like it? So the first thing that stood out to me and everyone on the team is like she's wearing a completely black bodysuit, and I call her almost like she looks a bit like she's gonna audition for Catwoman. So I thought it was an interesting choice because her backup singers are wearing like red and orangey looks like fire, because they have a lot of fire effects, and then the backup singers blend into that. So our concern was the backup singers stand out more than the singer, who is wearing black. And Gabe made a really good point. Like I don't think in most cases wearing black as the lead singer, especially when you have a dance number, is not a good idea. And based on the camera shots that we saw and some of the visuals, she blends into the background too much or fades away between the dancers. Now, we haven't seen the full camera work yet, so that could be different. But that was the first thing that stood out to me, is that maybe that visually from further out, it doesn't look right. But the camera work could tell us you're wrong, and then we'll see it. But even with all taking that into account, I think a more eye-catching outfit would have been better. And I'm not talking about you have your feathers and a cape and all that stuff. I'm really talking about something more visually striking, remind ourselves that it needs to be, that she is the star of the show. So that is the thing that I wanted to point out first. Now onto the positives. I do really like what they're doing with the staging. I really do. I do like that they brought in that extra prop in the beginning. It's like a similar, not concept looking wise, how Israel last year started also out in like a little cube thing, and now we're doing something similar. Here's one that's get pulled off later on. So I like it's a nice new starting element, and it captures people's attention right away, and you want to do that. I do like the energy. I love the fact, because TALI is not necessarily known as the best dancer, so she's mostly just not static, it's not the right word, but certainly more consistently standing still, like little movements here and that, Then she does a little bit like this and that, and swerving around, but for the most part, she is focusing on singing, while the backup dancers, as intended, are doing all of the work, and I think that is a very smart decision on their end. And I like the idea that they have different angles, not just like focusing straight forward, but going left and right. So I think that Luxembourg really comes back saying, we want to do well. We want to leave a very good first impression. And I think they will do that exactly. So this is certainly one of the ones that I do quite like based on my first impression. I still think the outfit could change. It's not necessarily the most interesting one, and certainly the most eye-catching. Some people talked about the hair. I have no issues with the hair. I think it looks good. But other than that, I think it's on my radar, Luxembourg. I think you're coming in here with a vengeance, I think, after you've been gone for so long. I just also, once again, that's the thing about this new concept that we cannot see everything, is that we have to see for the whole thing. We have to see the whole performance to completely judge it. But first impression to me is actually quite good. There is room for improvement. That's what I would call. But first impression is, I think this is going to be a good moment at the end. So, how did you feel? Our team was a little bit divided, so maybe you guys are in the same boat. Leave your thoughts below in the comment section where you fall looking at those pictures. I'll see you all in the next video.